In our first story tonight, West Africa's single common currency, the echo, will become one of the best trading currencies in the world if all bottlenecks are cleared before the 2020 implementation date. That's a verdict of international trade relations expert Frederick Alikpui, who disclosed this in an interview with Joy Business. Now, heads of states of the ECOWAS Commission agreed to introduce a common currency, the echo, as legal tender for transactions among member countries. This was part of deliberations after a presidential task force met in Accra. Ebenezer Sabote's report. ECOWAS has been forced to postpone the introduction of the common currency on many occasions since 2003. This has largely been due to the lack of a political will as well as failure by member states to meet some targets under the convergence criteria. These include a stable exchange rate, single-digit inflation, and a fiscal deficit not exceeding 4%, among others. Members of the ECOWAS Commission have now expressly agreed to introduce the currency in 2020, despite challenges faced by some countries in meeting the convergence criteria. Commenting on the matter, international trade expert Frederick Alikpui thinks there should be a more flexible mechanism than what the current criteria prescribes. He thinks a good payment system would work better.
Yeah, the criteria, from experience, we have seen that they are difficult to meet. You know, the convergence criteria, the requirements of, budget deficits, etc., are difficult to meet, as we have seen. But I would say that it is also possible that we, as Africans, we are much more practical in the way we do things. The traders are on the ground. They have their own ways of paying themselves in West Africa and across Africa. They pay themselves by mobile money. They pay themselves, hand to hand. They pay themselves by barter. Why don't we use practical ways of promoting intra-African trade?
How is the common currency expected to boost trade among member nations? Brandina Jagba is an international trader and entrepreneur.
I pray that something good come out of it.
How do you think this currency can help trading along the members?
Well, it will help some of the weak currency country, and it will favor some as well. But with that one, it will really help because some of us, we go out for trade shows and so on. So when you go to a Francophone countries and you convert, at the end of the day, you end up losing. But if this currency pop up, I think it will really help some of us who go out for trade shows and so on.
So you think it's a good currency for trading?
It's a good currency for trading because there is no need to change into other currency in order to buy from that country. Or when you go in to sell your things, you change in order to get your cedi. So it's the best.
Mr. Alikpui thinks this currency will be the panacea for the many inter-trade barriers in the region.
Oh, definitely, it is. It is a panacea because the traders have a lot of difficulty in paying themselves. They have a lot of difficulty. Even when you go to the Tema port here, the freight, the freighters, the truckers, and all these people who come to take luggage or, freight to Burkina Faso, they have a lot of problems. People who want to be paid in CFA, they cannot change enough cedis into CFA and vice versa. Some, they have to go to the Ghana-Togo border and all kinds of things. It's difficult for them. And that increases the cost of doing business and makes the goods more expensive for the consumers.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta believes Ghana will be among the first nations to meet the criteria for using the ECHO by 2020. Well, we're turning to another story that is brewing. Government has indicated it would go ahead with full implementation of the tax stamp program, despite threats from some beverage manufacturing firms. The Food and Beverage Association, at a news conference, threatened to withdraw their products and shut down operations if government goes ahead with the tax. According to them, the current tax structure would collapse their business if implemented. But government has maintained that even though it's willing to engage them, there's no turning back on the policy. Kweku Kwarteng is Deputy Minister of Finance.
when the budget statement was read and we signaled our intention to implement this policy, we had complaints that we needed to give them time so that they can rid the market of products that have not been stamped. And so on the 31st of August 2017, we relaunched the policy and indicated that we are not going to enforce it immediately. We are going to enforce it on the 1st of March 2018. It was all to meet the concerns of affected importers and manufacturers. About the tax stamps themselves, we decided that in view of the fact that we are beginning to implement this policy fresh, we would absorb the entire cost of the stamps. We have taken a law to Parliament, the Income Tax Act of 2015, to get an amendment in order that we can do accelerated capital allowance for those importers and manufacturers who invest in equipment that will allow them to affix the stamps to their products. We have done all this and given ample time so that we will not have the concerns we are hearing now. But 6 months on, we are still being told that there are still products on the market and therefore we need to wait further. We are unable to wait forever. We will go ahead and implement the law and make sure that the policy works. We will continue to listen to the concerns of stakeholders. But I have to say, as respectfully as I can, that expressing these concerns cannot be a substitute for obeying a law passed by Parliament. And
meanwhile, Executive Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association, Samuel Agri, has been reacting to government's adamant position. He spoke earlier on the marketplace with the host, Emmanuel Bwajiriafe.
For the past 3 years or 4 years that we've been engaging them, we've told them the process that you are using is too expensive for the market. We have cheaper costs, cheaper investment that we can do by using technology. With that one, you don't need even to invest $10,000 to get that one implemented. And you are asking us to go down the hard way. And we are telling you, see, the cost of machinery is $500,000. And those who have multiple lines, it means what they have to do is to invest over $3 million to get those things affixed. Now, if you are saying that there is no any other means and therefore what you have in place is what you need to enforce, then it becomes a bit of a challenge, because there are other avenues that we can use in arriving at the same results. Why are we not deploying those ones and rather asking that we should take the way that you want us to go? The only problem that we have is that, you see, the company that has been assigned to oversee the implementation of this project has not done what they should do. And therefore, if you are asking us to enforce it, how do we enforce it? They are supposed to provide certain amount of machinery for industry to do. If you are a retailer running retail shops, wholesaling, beer bar, hotels, and all that, if you know you are selling a product that has no tax stamp on it by the 1st of March, take them off. If that is the only business that you are doing, take the stocks that you have, send them to the supplier. If the supplier took it from a manufacturer, send it to the manufacturer. We'll receive them and then we'll lock it them up until we are able to affix the stamp before we send them back onto the market.
We are also getting a reaction from economist Dr. Eric Osei-Sibe, who is cautioning government to tread cautiously in implementing the tax stamp policy, looking at the opposition from some firms.
We all have corporate and social responsibilities, and of course, government can only do much if it has enough revenue, and so it's difficult to hear the manufacturers saying that they cannot comply. I'm not sure whether it is definite that they cannot comply. I think what should have been done is a lot more engagement and education as well as awareness to try to fashion the entire policy out. I mean, with these players, with this industry that is going to comply, because that is, I've read a bit about the policy, and I think that is one of the surest way that we can ensure that we enforce compliance to the tax, because if often with the tax stamp, it's a presumptive tax. Somebody tells you how much he has produced without you being able to verify. And that has always been the bin, the under declaration of quantities and of the volumes of production. And this particular design of the presumptive tax is to ensure that this bank or the GRA is able to get the correct numbers of the quantities that have been produced. And I think it's a novelty that everyone
They are raising issues about the structure of the tax itself, but it looks like this tango itself is not good for the economy. At a time when government is struggling to raise...
To Georgia, I think there would always be a melting pot where the two can agree on the modalities. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's non-negotiable. We have to do everything possible to implement it, to ensure that government tax yield is increased and the tax compliance is also well enhanced. I mean, it's definitely going to help both the players, it's going to help the entire economy, and it's going to help everyone. If government revenue comes and government is able to undertake the needed infrastructure investment, public investment, I mean, it goes to reduce cost of doing business, it goes to increase productivity, and it goes to increase profitability of these manufacturers.
Well, still on the tax stamp policy, some local water bottling manufacturers who say they will be unable to comply with the tax stamp policy when it is implemented say they are adopting new strategies to contain the situation. The measures include shutting down plants and venturing into other product portfolios. Charles Aite has been speaking to one such firm, the Blow Group of companies, manufacturers of Belacqua mineral water, and he's come through with this report.
At the Blow Group of companies to interact with one such company, producers of Belacqua mineral water, as they say that this tax stamp policy is possibly going to cause the shutdown of their company.
Implementation of the excise stamp policy continues to draw huge controversy as industry players in the manufacturing sector are advocating the policy to be first tested on imported products before a complete rollout on local companies. The Blow Group of companies, producers of Belacqua mineral water, say the complete shutdown of their plant soon at the Tema industrial area will form part of strategies to cut down on cost. Chairman of the Blow Group of companies, Manoj Lakiani, who spoke off camera, tells Joy Business the company will have to invest over $800,000 on the installation of machines used for affixing stamps.
We can buy the tax stamp labels, but equipment is a problem. How many people can afford such equipment? 200,000-300,000. Belacqua has 3 lines, has to spend almost $1 million. Basically, we are trying to say we encourage to produce sachet water. At the end of the day, bottled water and sachet water is water. So why are they taxing bottled water and not sachet water? Are they encouraging all bottled water companies to move to sachet water? At the same time, they're complaining about menace in society. So where is what is going on? So we should all convert to sachet water.
The Food and Beverage Association at the recent press conference says no beverage manufacturer, including bigger firms like Guinness, Ghana Breweries Limited, Kasapreku Company Limited, Voltic Ghana Limited, Accra Brew Limited, Pepsi Ghana Limited, and Coca-Cola Bottling Company Limited, has produced or installed the tax stamp affixing machine needed for the smooth enforcement of the policy. This development raises questions about the ability of the company to enforce the tax stamp policy meant to keep proper records of the production of bottled beverages and water for the purposes of tax collection.
We are turning to other news now, and 3 former central bank governors have all justified the Bank of Ghana's inflation targeting policy, which is primarily aimed at ensuring stable prices and low general price levels. There's more in the following report.
The forum brought together businesses, economists, and all the former central bank governors to deliberate on the effectiveness of the Bank of Ghana. Presenting his keynote address, Former Securities and Exchange Commission boss Dr. Nick Kusowa said there cannot be any justification for scrapping the policy. He later explained to Joy Business why he made those statements in his presentation.
No, I think you can hear from the discussions after people have gotten an understanding of what the process involves, that with inflation targeting, you are no more just focusing on just inflation, but that the central bank takes a look at other national objectives as well. There's virtually a consensus that the IT process is about the best thing that we can do for now. What people are now talking about is something that the central bank is talking about how to polish up the process. But that the process is what we should do. I think there's no doubt about that.
The policy has come under some criticisms due to its failure to ensure the low cost of credit and budget overruns. There have been calls for its scrapping because it has failed to get the desired result. But these former governors have been given reasons why this policy should be maintained. Let's hear from Dr. Henry Wampa, who believes the commercial banks can do a lot to make the policy relevant.
He tried to push the blame on customers, that they should vote with their feet. They should move to other banks if they don't like the interest rates in their banks. In effect, that's what it meant. But I think the banks too have a responsibility to ensure that they have a stable system. So they can afford to calm down on the interest rates a lot sooner than the others. And if they do that, those big banks like his bank, the Ghana Commercial Bank, Stanchart, and Barclays, EcoBank, those banks can lead and the others will follow. So I think that is what we do, instead of saying that the people should move to whichever bank that will suit their needs. Thank you.
Please put your hands together. Former Governor and Vice President Kwesi Mr. Arthur tells the Bank of Ghana cannot be blamed for non-effectiveness of the policy.
The authority that is determining the incentives in the real sector is the Finance Ministry. Now, when the growth doesn't come, then they are piling that blame on the central bank. I don't believe that it is correct and to blame the central bank, the MPC for, and Dr. Sowa has put the answer where I thought it should be. There are many other things, but I think that I'll leave it.
Former Governor Dr. Paul Akwa indicated that people should appreciate the whole framework guiding the policy before they try to judge its effectiveness.
There should not be confusion between inflation targeting and inflation targeting framework. The inflation target is an objective. The framework is a process by which you condition, you create, you shape the economic environment to deliver that inflation target. So it's not, you should not say that because Ghana is one of only 3 sub-Saharan economies that operate an inflation target, that system is not suited to the country. Yeah, so I think that is what I should say.
These governors all expressed their thoughts on the forum on effectiveness of the monetary policy organized by the Economics Department of the University of Ghana, Legon.
Now, away from all the hard stuff, the latest blockbuster movie, Black Panther, was premiered last Friday at the Silverbird Cinema here in Accra. The movie, which has for some time now been trending on social media, attracted a huge number of people to the venue. Our own John Fafali Kofi was there, and our reports.
You have to decide what kind of king you are going to be.
The entertainment industry continues to play a major role in the socio-economic development of every country. Black Panther is said to have given a boost to the entertainment industry in many countries. The most entirely black cast movie has also generated great interest in Ghana. Reports say Black Panther set a box office record with an estimated revenue of $362 million as it opened over the past weekend across the globe. But exactly how did the hype go in Ghana? Fumilayo Onuma is the country manager at the Silverbird Cinemas.
It's been overwhelming. A lot of people have come to see the movie. Like today, we had the Archbishop Duncan Williams come with his wife to see the movie because of the content and the leadership things that people have heard about it from the movie. Young children are happy to see black people act as superheroes, produced by Disney and the Marvel character comic movie. So basically, it's been a lot of good feedbacks from customers.
For you as a cinema house, what has gone into the showing of this movie?
Oh wow, for every movie coming from a big studio or any other studio, we do a lot of research about the characters, we do a lot of marketing, promotions, and it's about the teamwork with the distributors also. We do a lot of marketing things that will actually sell the movie, basically.
But do you think it was worth the franchise?
Oh yes, very. It's been, the feedback internationally is that it broke a world record for the first opening weekend. And obviously, even in Ghana, we did over 18,000 plus on the opening weekend in Ghana alone. So it's been good. We've been showing movies up to 12 midnight, and people keep coming for more. Like today, on a weekday, on a school day, you have the cinema full with people.
But the question is, what is the interest and at what cost? Some viewers shared their thoughts with Joy Business.
I spent 45 Ghana cedis virtually because I live in Spintex, so I spent 5 cedis here and I paid 40 cedis for the movie. But then it's all good. I was extremely worth the watch. I actually don't regret wasting my money at all.
I came for the premiere on Friday and it was really nice, so I decided to come again.
I love the whole thing, the African theme thing about Black Panther. Black Panther, and for the reason why Black Panther has set a kind of standard for black people in the world now. You get it. For now, we can't get people to talk about blacks just like the way they used to talk about blacks.
It has become common for movie lovers to download pirated movies at low cost that they pay relatively at the cinemas. So with the Black Panther craze that has caught up with the teeming youth, what are the cinemas doing to ensure that they rake in the desired revenue?
We expect production companies to come up with good quality movies. So because people want to pay for quality. You're not going to come in and see something that you'll be disappointed. You want to come again. So when you've been known with quality, people will come to see your movies. So that's what I believe. People should invest in equipment, and people should invest in good stories and content. And you just come to bring it to us, and we exhibit it, and you make your money.
The movie, many believe, has achieved its aim of projecting the African culture.
John Fafali Kofi reporting there on the Black Panther craze. Well, let's move on to our interview of the day. And the Ghana Union of Traders Association says it will adopt some drastic measures this year to further express their frustration over the long-standing issue of influx of foreign retailers. Now, an executive member of GUTA, Benjamin Yeboah, has disclosed to Joy Business that the local retailers in the country are running out of patience and they are asking government to act swiftly.
We would have hoped that we do this with government, because we don't want a situation whereby our various regions would take it up, because they are threatening. They are threatening to take it up if government or those agencies that are supposed or mandated by law to do it don't do it. And that might be chaos. So we would employ government that, please, as a matter of urgency, it's about time they work on it, apply the law. Tell those within the system to give the goods to the Ghanaians. Let them have some MOU. If they might not be able to pay upfront, if government can even help with proper soft loans to our Ghanaian people, for them to buy the produce from them, they should. So we can have some sort of sanity. At the moment, it is very dangerous.
Any timelines for government to act?
We will not give any timeline. The timeline is now. They should act now. Because if you don't act now and tomorrow, a region or a sector from GUTA decide to act, who do you blame?
All right, and that's it for Business Live tonight. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. You'd see all our stories there, plus the videos, just in case you missed out on any of our bulletins. And of course, you can read more about the tax stamp policy and the issues arising. My name is Daryl Kwal. Thanks for watching. We are back tomorrow, same time.